The world watched in shock as Ibrahim Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso, dismantled decades of deception in just 3 minutes. The truth was exposed, and nothing would ever be the same for Africa. In one explosive press conference, Traoré not only revealed the true wealth of his country but also shattered the narrative of Africa's poverty. This was no ordinary speech, it was a call for revolution. On this fateful day, 42 journalists, 15 ambassadors, and dozens of cameramen crowded into a hall, expecting yet another routine press conference. But as Traoré stepped up to the microphone, the room fell silent. His expression, determined and unwavering, told them this was something far more significant. Minutes before the press conference began, a strange tension hung in the air. The room, usually buzzing with chatter, was eerily silent. No one dared speak. Something monumental was about to unfold. Behind the scenes, Traoré's assistants moved swiftly, placing sealed documents on tables. The air was thick with anticipation, and the stage was set. At exactly 2:25 p.m., Ibrahim Traoré entered the room. His face was set in stone, and in his hands, a thick file containing secrets so potent, even his advisors were shaken. The diplomats could feel it. Their comfortable world was about to come crashing down. As Traoré approached the microphone, the room held its breath. For 5 seconds, no one dared move. The silence was deafening. Then, with unwavering confidence, he spoke words that would forever change the course of African history. "I have had enough of the lies," Traoré began. "For 30 years, we have been called poor. But we are not poor. We are among the richest nations in the world. And it's time you knew the truth." Traoré opened the file. The first bombshell was dropped. Burkina Faso had extracted 62 tons of gold the previous year, worth a staggering $4.3 billion. Yet, the country had received only a fraction of that $350 million. But that wasn't all. Traoré had more to reveal. The rest, 91% of it, left the country, Traoré declared, his voice steady and cutting through the room like a knife. The diplomats could barely contain their shock. This wasn't just a claim, it was proof. And as the camera zoomed in on the diplomats' faces, panic began to set in. But Traoré wasn't finished. The next revelation sent shockwaves through the hall. Burkina Faso was one of the world's top uranium producers, contributing to 5% of global supply. The stunning truth: the country's uranium-powered 56 nuclear reactors in France, while 65% of Burkina Faso's villages were without electricity. Traoré turned to the French ambassador, his eyes piercing. "Is this irony?" he asked. The room was on edge, the weight of his words sinking in. The diplomats shifted uncomfortably in their seats, knowing they were complicit in this grand theft. Traoré's next revelation was even more damning. He presented a geological survey showing that Burkina Faso's underground wealth, gold, uranium, manganese, zinc, was valued at $850 billion. Yet, despite this unimaginable wealth, the country remained one of the poorest in the world. Why? Because 90% of the mines were controlled by foreign companies. "This system is not sustainable," Traoré continued. "Foreign companies extract billions of dollars worth of resources, but they leave us with nothing. When we are poor, they come and say they're helping us. Is this justice?" The diplomatic shockwave wasn't limited to the room. Traoré's words were broadcast live, sending ripples across the globe. In the hall, the American consul, the French ambassador, the British representative each scrambled to react. Messages were sent, calls made. The world was watching, and the truth was undeniable. The tension in the room reached its peak as Traoré dropped his final bombshell official intelligence report detailing the real reason for instability in Africa. When there's instability, we cannot protect our resources, he said. That's why they want chaos. They want us weak, divided. As Traoré reached the end of his speech, his words were a rallying cry for Africa's independence. This is the end of the game, he declared. We will control our resources. We will no longer be slaves to foreign powers. The game is over. And with that, the 3-minute speech was over. The diplomats, stunned, remained silent. The truth had been unleashed, and nothing would ever be the same again. The aftermath was swift. Within days, Western media downplayed the speech, giving it only brief coverage. But in Africa, the message spread like wildfire. Traoré's words sparked a new wave of independence across the continent. Burkina Faso reviewed its mining agreements, and the West's hold on Africa's resources began to loosen. This wasn't just a press conference. It was a manifesto, a declaration that Africa's true wealth would no longer be hidden. Ibrahim Traoré had exposed the lie, and with his words, a new chapter in Africa's fight for freedom had begun. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more explosive stories like this. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest updates on global power struggles.